Hello everyone, my name is Unreal Khan and welcome to another Hearts of Iron 4 The Fire Rises After Action Report. Disclaimer, I do not support any radical ideologies, criminal organizations, terrorist organizations, tyrannical regimes of any sort throughout this video. This video is set for entertainment purposes. This video includes real-life people, real-life regimes. It is not meant to be associated with what's happening in the real world. This is, again, for entertainment purposes. I'm fully aware of what these organizations and ideologies have done in the past and up to now. I do not support what they've done. I do not support the overthrow of democracy or anything stupidly bad like that. I'm just playing a video game for fun. So yeah. Also, this video talks about a potential change in American policy that might be aligned with real-world conspiracy theories. In no way, shape, or form do I allude to any support to these things in real life. This video is meant to cover something of a what-if scenario. Thank you. Where do I begin? Well, let's take a look at the world. You are probably wondering how the world came to be like this. If you looked at the world right now, 2033, and compared it to, as of now, 2026, you would probably be confused as to why nations such as Russia and China are now completely balkanized. What happened to them that led to this crisis? Well, what happened was a series of unfortunate events such as the pandemic of the early 2020s, the Saudi Arabian Civil War, sorry about that, and the Second American Civil War that made things significantly worse for the world. It is during this crisis that President Joe Biden dealt with the insurgency that is former President Trump and the Constitutionalists. Then came the National Front, led by the radical right-wing people, and especially right-wing terrorists within the Steel Belt, New England, and the Deep South. Then came the communists of the West, within California, Cascadia, over here. Things had completely shaken in American foreign policy, and especially in American governance, that it became too much for President Biden, who is approaching his old age. Eventually, someone, or should I say a group of people, had to step in. Meet the Cognescetti. That's right, we're covering this scenario. For many years, if you would look at it from the outside, 2033, and compare it to now, you'd probably be pooping your pants. You'd probably be crapping your pants. You'd think, there is no way that the left-wing media is controlled or is in part with secret government organizations. In this hypothetical game scenario, it covers just that. In this scenario, the Union of America, which was mostly the GOP, the pro-globalist front, They tried everything to hold off the assault from the Trump administration, the rival insurgencies, and the National Socialists and the fascists over here. It became too much for him. So then the CIA, led by William J. Burns, stepped in. He assumed control and worked in a tight alliance with the World Economic Forum and DARPA. Again, this is just for entertainment purposes and is not meant to draw any criticism towards them. Through this, they have made deals with the devil. Too many, in fact. Too many deals with the devil. In return for crushing the insurgencies and restoring order across the United States is no longer, in a sense, the bastion of freedom and democracy. It is now a cabal economy which is a shadow pseudo-command economy structured around the principle of ensuring maximum financial and political returns for the Cognescetti and its constituent financial interests. Through private meetings, predictive algorithms, and insider training, all involved parties ensure profits stay up and certain unpredictable factors are minimalized, creating an excellent illusion of stability for the American people while guaranteeing that the financial sector continues to thrive, pleasing financiers and ensuring this deep state has access to the resources it needs. And now it is no longer a nation of freedom and democracy. While its economy is no longer a free market economy, the government type is now a counterintelligence state, or better yet, a securiocracy. What this basically means is a securiocracy is a government type in which an intelligence sector of that government takes over the government and rules the country. Long story short, the CIA won a battle of power between the two other deep state companies and organizations. The CIA, often seen as some of the most shady part of the USA, now assumes total control. The puppet president is none other than Antony Blinken. Through their means of forcing government and military unity, they have ensured that the world would remain united even though the nation suffered from a second civil war. They instituted a small coup in which Prime Minister Trudeau would remain Prime Minister due to the pandemic and national security concerns. All elections have been cancelled or have been given the illusion of free choice in the foreseeable future. Mexico suffered a civil war and was given order to El Presidente meet. Military democracies have been installed in the Caribbean to restore order and overthrow old rivalries from the past, including Cuba. Colombia also suffered a civil war, but the main government was restored by El Presidente Moreno, also following Pax Americana. Venezuela was overthrown, not in the sense of what happened in real life, but more so in a style similar to that of Operation Iraqi Freedom. Brazil is also a puppet of the United States under President Henrique Meirelles. It almost seems like America now owns the New World. All they have left are the other countries in South America. But that's not all. What happened in Europe? I know what you're going to say. What's the elephant in the room doing in Kazakhstan? I will get to that in a moment. But Europe, while America suffered its second civil war, fought against a nationalist Russia under Vladimir Zhirinovsky. Unfortunately, they failed. Oh no, wait, it wasn't him. It was, I believe it was Dmitry Medvedev. He came to power and went the reformist route. Unfortunately, he lost the First European War against Europe and especially Ukraine, who is under Zelensky for an unforeseeable future. Medvedev failed, was overthrown from power, and was replaced. I'm sorry for that symbol there. I did not mean to show that. I'm sorry. Let me add a disclaimer. You'll probably see some hate symbols, including the swastika depicted in this video. I do not support it, and unfortunately, I cannot edit those things out. So if YouTube wants to attack me for it, go ahead. I can't really do anything about it. Anyway, Russia collapsed, or at least the old government did, and was replaced by a fanatic, at least in the eyes of the Western world, savior to the East. His name was Dugin. Alexander Dugin. Now, who is Alexander Dugin? He was a Eurasianist. He wanted to, in the words of American President Anthony Blinken and many pro-European democracies, he was a threat to national security. He was a sponsor of pro-Western terrorism, was a fascist, national socialist, and was insane. And so he was destroyed. With assistance from the CIA-led government of America, they have successfully destroyed Russia. Germany federalized into the European Union under President, I'm sorry if I say this wrong, Winfried Kretschmann, with Prime Minister or the Federal Chancellor being Annalena Baerbock. While they have federalized the European Union, they took over Austria and absorbed Bulgaria and the lower half of what was once Yugoslavia. They took Macedonia, Serbia. Surprisingly, Albania owns Kosovo. That's going to have a lot of conflict in the future, trust me. France, under President Marine Le Pen, temporarily owns Montenegro. Croatia is independent as a fascist. UK is under Karl Starmer. It's so over, bros. Nothing ever happens, basically, is what happened here. Nothing ever happens. Conservatism is pretty much dead in the United Kingdom. Surprisingly, it survived in France under Le Pen. But then, oh yeah, I'll get to the other stuff in a moment. For some reason, the United Kingdom, I think, decided to resume colonial policy and get rid of the Houthi regime in Yemen. They own it for some reason. Don't ask me why. The Libyan Jamahira took power, and with the assistance, they joined Eurasia in the Second European War, and so America had to install General Michael Langley as part of the U.S. Air Force to oversee reconstruction in North Africa. He also oversees construction in Angola, which was once an American adversary in the early 2000s, kind of still is, as well as South Africa. because South Africa exploded into a civil war shortly after the mess in the New World. Congo is still in a civil war between the communists, the Christian conservatives, allied with Central African Republic. The Democratic Republic of the Congo is still holding out, but it seems they are on the verge of death. And then there is... who else is there? There's also the regular Republic of the Congo. They might die soon. But the biggest one of the biggest ones, is the Djuma Defense of the Congo, led by Shimure Guidon. He might survive longer, but it's unknown. There was the East African War, which eventually had a stalemate with the Nile River Coalition, led by Egypt. Or no, wait, Egypt won that conflict. Never mind, disregard. They won. Surprisingly, the East African Federation stands strong, but it's possible they might collapse eventually. But with the CIA, they might take charge because democracy, why not? Ethiopia is split between the former socialists in the north and still the republic to the south. Saudi Arabia is under the current crown prince of real life, because nothing ever happens. When Eurasia collapsed, Kazakhstan had a civil war, and surprisingly, the 423rd Regiment survived. They are under National Spartanism. Yeah, that's kind of interesting what they're doing there. Anyhow, in the Middle East, you're probably thinking nothing ever happens. Israel will probably get bigger, Iran will fall, yada yada yada. Well, here's the thing. Iran technically did fall, but Israel also fell. While the conflict in Europe and America was still going on, Israel collapsed to the Arab war between Egypt, Jordan, Syria, and parts of Iranian-controlled Lebanon, and eventually collapsed, replaced by Palestine, which was a military junta. During the intervention by the CIA-led government, they moved in and secured the entire Middle East, including retaking Afghanistan, which is a huge morale boost, and all of it has been placed under General Mad Dog Mattis. What's most interesting is Asia. While this was happening, China attempted to retake Taiwan. However, they failed. China tried everything they can since the takeover of the communists in 1950 to do everything they can to retake Taiwan, and they failed. They were humiliated so bad that the next person that took over the government of China believed that the CCP was mostly lost, that it was a failure. The only way they would be able to get their total vengeance against Taiwan, Japan, and the rest of the Pacific Defense Treaty Organization, and eventually claim the mandate of heaven, was to go back to their past as the People's Heavenly Republic, or should I say, the former Chinese Empire. Now, this is not necessarily the same Chinese Empire that Puyi once ruled under the Qing dynasty, or the Ming dynasty, or all the other dynasties that came before it. This is more so an amalgamation between the previous dynasties as well as the glories of the old CCP. Chiang Wangdao took control of China and eventually created a national Confucianist state known as the People's Heavenly Republic. As insane as it was, Japan had no choice but to declare war to liberate the oppressed peoples in China, which led to the Great Asian War. During this conflict, when all seemed lost in Indochina and parts of India, Japan made a massive turnaround, and eventually they succeeded in destroying China, turning it into the Second Chinese Civil War. It is unknown exactly who's going to come out on top, but it is believed that the military junta under Huang Ming will restore order. But it is possible that with the collapse of the CCP, that many pro-Western governments will try to take power instead. Tibet is restored under... Oh, that's odd. I thought that they would bring him back. I think they did. They brought back Tenzin Gyatso, the Dalai Lama. But they put him in as a ceremonial figure, as a figurehead rather than the actual former monarchy that was overthrown by Mao Zedong's regime back in the 1950s. This was mainly done to secure for the sake of Tibetan national security. All in all, the world seems rather tense, but also at peace. Many adversaries of old have been destroyed. America, thought to have been forever lost to the bounds of isolationism, has, by some miracle, through the blood, sweat, and tears of the CIA and the rest of the Cognescetti, have pulled themselves together and have restored world peace under the United Strategic Coalition for Peace. Perhaps with this, the New World Order will come to fruition. But will this New World Order last? That is a question for another day. With them gone, with Russia, China, multipolarity, Iran, all this thing gone, and all domestic things being removed, the question remains, is America destined to be the first hyperpower in history? Or is the CIA hiding something under the rug? Is there going to be another conflict that will forever shatter American dominance and perhaps put it under the Cognescetti in the European Union or Japan or whoever else takes charge? It is unknown. While it is peaceful, it is tense. For now, peace. Okay. I hope you enjoyed this. I just did it in like one go, and I'm genuinely surprised how it went. Basically what happened was I nearly lost the minigame of trying to find the Judas of the GOP, the Shadow Cabinet. I had to fire like 75% of my cabinet just to find out where Judas was, and eventually I got him. I forgot his name, but I guess in the context of the Cognescetti, that doesn't really matter, because that Judas is forever lost to history and will never be remembered again. Okay. Well, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Please give a like, subscribe, and comment, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.